The 2018 LS multi-information display displays key safety alerts and houses a variety of vehicle customization settings. Watch how our specialists use clear explanations and feature stories to demonstrate the personalization capabilities of the multi-information display and learn how you can adjust vehicle settings to fit your guest preferences during delivery.
So Tawny, we spent some time playing with the car today, and you told me that one of your favorite features on the new LS is still a feature that we have on a lot of our product line.
Yeah, the multi-information display, or MID as it's called, is one of my favorites. There's so many functions and features that you can access through the button on your steering wheel and the screen right here, so you get to keep your hands on the wheel and stay safe and be able to control a lot of different features.
So what types of features do you love to control from the steering wheel?
Yeah, so a few of my favorites are going to be the range, telling you how many miles until empty. Always good to know when you're like me and don't really pay attention to your gas gauge very much until that gas light's on and you got to know exactly how much time you have left.
Sure.
I also really love the audio control in there, so I can quickly jump back and forth to Bluetooth or FM and get to all of my presets and see what's playing on that screen right in there. And I also really like the navigation information that shows up. So when you have guidance going through your nav, when you are approaching a turn, it pops up in the screen. It tells you, hey, you've got about half a mile. You're going to turn right here. You can even scroll, see what the next turn is. So you kind of have an idea of how long you're on that road before you turn again. And it's just a lot of great information all right there in that little screen.
So the steering wheel and the MID is kind of a nice alternative when you're driving to the remote touchpad and the big screen.
Yes, I think some of our clients can be a little bit overwhelmed by the concept of doing this while the car is in motion, which I totally understand. So this is a great option to still be able to make those adjustments, control those features while staying safe and feeling confident.
You have some other terms on how to access.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, Scott. Thank you. So on the left side of the steering wheel, there's 4 arrows, and you have an up arrow, a down arrow, left arrow, right arrow, and an OK button in the center. So when you start using the left and right arrows, you have what I refer to as broad strokes across the top. And then within those broad strokes, which are icon-based, you have fine details. And those are accessed by your vertical function of the up and down arrow. And so then to go into any one of those particular details, you just push the OK button. And then if you want to back out, you hit the page back button. So I think it's really intuitive once you lay the foundation and the platform to build from for the guest. And so this creates a level of comfortability, because if there's anything that I've taken away from delivering as many cars as I've delivered, is that when you create an experience that the guest is very, very comfortable with, they're going to use it. And as they use it and that comfort builds, they'll dive deeper into it. But if the initial response or the initial reaction of what you're trying to teach them isn't very comfortable for them, when they leave the dealership, they may not be too akin to use it.
They'll forget it's even there and miss out on what the car has to offer.
Absolutely.
Right? You're going to walk us through particularly some settings. So why don't you tell us a little bit about where we're going on the vehicle itself?
Okay, so the settings that we're going to focus more on today is the MID screen, which is your multi-information display. And the way you access that, you'll hit the button on your left side of your steering wheel that looks like a square with a hook. You'll hit it to bring it up, and then you'll hit the left arrow or right arrow depending on where you are. But you'll keep hitting whichever one until you see a gear or circle with ridges. Now, a couple features inside of that I think LTS should know about is the parking support assist and the parking support brake, because they're different in this vehicle. The parking support assist, if you click on it by going down and hitting the OK button, now houses your parking assist, rear cross traffic alert now, and your rear camera detector. And if you need to increase the volume for any of those, you just go to the last one and increase the volume. You have 3 options, 1, 2, and 3. So if you hit it, 1, 2, and 3 is the loudest.
It gives you that audible feedback so you know where the volume is.
Yes.
See.
So if we go back another screen, it takes you back to your full menu. Now, if you go underneath your parking support assist, you have your parking support brake, which looks like a car and like a traffic cone and a star. That's when you're backing out, the car will brake itself. Just like what you're more familiar with in the RX is your clearance sonar. Okay. Then the one other thing that I think that everyone should know about is in this model, you can increase the brightness of your blind spot monitoring signal now. So if you go all the way down to your vehicle settings, go to your BSM setting, and you'll see the brightness. I recommend everyone turning brightness on. So what the suspension does is, especially the one I'm talking about, is that when you get into the car, it makes life easier for you to get in and out of the car. So when you walk up to your car, you'll feel the car automatically raise up. Once the car raises up, you can get inside and you can sit down like you normally would. Once you start driving the car will get lower. Depending on how fast you go, the lower the car will go for stability reasons. That's one thing that we should have all the customers, we should teach all our customers that. So if they don't like it, we can turn it off and you'll find it in that MID setting screen as we saw everything else.
Can we revisit the settings?
Yeah,
and
so
how to adjust that?
So we go back to your home button and we start from the beginning. Every time I teach a system to a customer, I go back to the whole thing all over again. So you go back to your information screen, then you hit the left arrow and go to your settings where you see the gear, and then you go all the way up or down because this is a big circle. We're going to go into your vehicle settings. You go down to your car that has a high inside of it. You're just saying hi to your car. And then you have your height control, you have your access mode, then you have your select parking height. With your access mode, that's when you're opening the door. So you walk up to your car, you're opening the door. You're telling the car, I want that to happen. I want that interaction to happen. And then you go down to your select parking height. You have two options, normal or high. If you're in normal, the car will do its normal thing. It will go back to high. When you get into the car, it will lower back down. If you are in high, no matter what you do, the car is going to stay high unless you're driving down the road for stability reasons. So if you get out the car is going to stay high to get you out. It's not going to go to normal, and vice versa.
We've said a lot of these things, but is there anything we've forgotten that you would want to make sure a guest knows, or even if you're training people at your dealership on how to deliver this, is there anything in particular that we really should try not to forget? Anything that those guests should know about relative to, first of all, I guess the suspension, the air suspension operation, and then also the MID settings?
No, I think that's pretty much it. It's just, everyone should know that, know the differences between the different settings, and try to incorporate a story as much as possible, because that's how the customers learn. That's how you relate to the customer. That's how it makes it fun. Because if you just say, oh, this is just suspension height, then that's not going to go anywhere. But if you say, this is there for you, this way your car is welcoming you, it's like a doormat. It adds that little bit more nostalgic feeling to it, So have a story with it and have fun with it.
It certainly makes it more personal, right? If you can tap into that, and I imagine that helps a lot with features that are really you can't necessarily demonstrate.
Yes,
all these features. So having a story to go along with it.
It's helpful to return to the multi-information display's main screen each time you teach a new setting, so your guests can understand and repeat the process. Make sure your guests are also aware of each driver assist feature and what will happen once a feature is activated to empower them to react to the alerts accordingly.